All right, I guess we'll get started here. Appreciate everyone coming out to our HR Over Coffee webinar series. This week, or this particular session, is going to be on conflict resolution, so I appreciate everyone making the time. So if you haven't already seen on the left-hand side of your screen, there is some chat function that we can certainly use throughout this webinar here. The actual duration of this will be about 15 minutes or so in length, and I'll try to get to the questions there at the end. There's also a question section as well that you can ask some of the questions in that particular area module of this webinar software. So yeah, we'll get right into it. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Chris Broughton. I'm with UpSourced HR. I have my Bachelor of Management here from the University of Lethbridge. I'm also a Chartered Professional in Human Resources, a Senior Professional in Human Resources, and a Senior Certified Professional in Human Resources. A couple different designations that I've been able to attain throughout my career in the human resources industry. So to get right into it, I'll be talking about conflict resolution today and this particular topic that is of interest to both managers, employees, as well as organizations trying to manage conflict in the workplace. And so as I mentioned in the intro and some of the materials for this webinar, one of the areas we focused on is the interest-based relational approach to conflict resolution. So what this means is basically separating people and their emotions from the problem. The actual interest-based relational approach is all part of a negotiation tactic that was introduced by Roger Fisher and William Ury in their 1981 book, Getting to Yes. And it focuses on building mutual respect and understanding for both sides in any type of conflict. So your role as a manager is not simply to resolve conflicts, but to ensure that the team members feel respected and understood, that they appreciate each other's differences, and that they manage conflicts in a civil and grown-up way. I know sometimes in the workplace it can feel like we're sometimes babysitting and having to deal with some of these smaller conflicts as they arise. But what I found is that if we let these small little things go, what can happen is they can start to fester and they can turn out to become much larger issues. And so what I find is if we deal with the conflict as soon as possible, that usually ends up being the better outcome in the end. So I'll get into a little bit of the interest-based relational approach here. So step one in this process is to make sure that good relationships are a priority. What I would typically do is sit both parties down, or if you are involved in conflict yourself, sit down with the other party and ensure that we both understand that good relationships are the priority. If one party in this in the conflict itself does not value the relationship, unfortunately, the rest of this process will not work, and it would be very unlikely that you'll be able to find some sort of resolution to this particular conflict. So that's very important that both parties understand and agree that they want to maintain a good working relationship at the end of this process. Step number two in this process is to separate the people from the problems. And what we mean by this is that there's usually a reason why someone is acting the way they are. And what we want to do is basically find out what that reason is. People are not usually a jerk in the workplace just for the sake of being a jerk. There's usually a reason why, and it could be something that something that I've done, or something that another colleague has done that's created this conflict. And then maybe they're reacting to the way that I've reacted. And so what we need to do is basically just sit down and find out what that reason is. There's usually a problem that we need to get to the heart of, and it's usually not because that person is just the way they are. We need to get to the heart of the issue. Step number three is to listen carefully to the different interests. And so basically what we need to do is put on our listening cap and start listening to what the other party has to say. And what I mean by that is actually sitting down and actively engaged in what they're saying, taking notes, and making sure that we're paying attention to what it is they're trying to communicate to us. And again, this goes back to the step number one of having that good relationship as the number one priority, is that we want to make sure that that we are listening to what their side of the problem is, and just as much that they're going to be wanting to listen to what our side of the problem is as well. So that way we can come to some idea of what the issue is. Step number 4 is to listen first and talk second. And what we mean by this is basically what we want to do is we want to give everybody who's part of the conflict an opportunity to speak before we try to resolve any issues or before we try to refute what they're trying to say. A lot of times what can happen in these type of conversations is somebody will try to make up an excuse for why something happened a certain way. And what we want to do is we just want to give everybody the opportunity to speak first. Get everyone on the same page as far as what information is out there. Why is somebody maybe feeling a certain way they are? And then from there, what we can do is actually start to begin to review how we want to resolve this conflict. Step number 5 is to set out the facts. And this kind of goes back to, again, step number 4 about giving everybody the opportunity to speak, is that we want to make sure that we're giving everybody that opportunity to present the facts as they see them. And so the facts can be things that can be proven and also things that have maybe occurred in a previous conflict or things that have happened in the past that we want to bring out and set out as fact. And so that everybody understands what everybody else is bringing to the table as far as why a conflict may have occurred. And step number 6 is to explore the options together. So once everybody's had an opportunity to speak and you've agreed on what the facts are of kind of what's occurred and what's led to the conflict itself, explore the options together. It should never, as a manager or as an HR professional, we don't necessarily come in and say, here's what the resolution should be. We want to have this as a group effort, and everybody collaborates on the different approach that they want to take to resolving the conflict. And what we find is if we do this type of approach and exploring those options together and a collaborative approach, is that in the end, you'll have much better buy-in if people have had their opportunity to actually have their say in what that outcome might be. So that's, again, where we want to explore those options together. So in a recap of that particular interest-based approach to conflict resolution, step number 1, making sure that good relationships are the priority. Step number 2, separate the people from the problems. Number 3, listen carefully to the different interests. Number 4, listen first, talk second. Number 5, set out the facts. And number 6, explore your options together. So I hope everybody's had an opportunity to learn a little bit about this approach to conflict resolution. I'm going to be sending out the slides here shortly. If anybody has any opportunity or they have any questions about that. I also just want to make a plug for the new services that UpSourced HR is offering. It's called HR On Demand. Provides a value package of different services that we provide for a low monthly fee. It's starting at $299 a month. And if that's something that you might be interested, please check out our website or contact me directly, and I'd love to have the opportunity to explore that service with you. So if anyone's had any questions, I'd like to open up the floor to anything we might have about conflict resolution. All right, I'm getting no questions at the moment, so everyone is conflict experts here now, so I appreciate that. If you do have any questions after the session is over, by all means, feel free to reach out to me. My email address, chris@upsourcedhr.com, and I'd be happy to discuss this topic with you. So appreciate everyone for attending, and I look forward to having another one of these sessions soon. And if you have any suggestions for future topics, by all means, please let us know, and we'll certainly be able to review that particular topic. So great, thanks, appreciate it, and have a good day.